What's up, Mortgage Coach community? I am super fired up about this conversation because I think we're going to be introducing something to a lot of loan officers that they're not even aware of. You know, when it comes to down payment assistance program, typically loan officers are like, that's too confusing, that's too much work. You know, they don't even, most loan officers don't even know what's available. And I like to think of this innovation and the entrepreneur that we're going to introduce you to as well. It's not a pricing engine. There was a time when to price out a loan, you needed fax worksheets, and Optimal Blue came along and demystified that, and they made it faster and easier to price out loans. And what Rob's done and his company, which he's going to introduce you to in a minute, they've made it easier to find all the down payment assistance programs on a national wide level. So kind of like it's not a pricing engine, but it's an engine where you can find this stuff. And so we're going to interview Rob. I did ask me to join me, Joe Patur, and have really Joe speak into his vision on why we're so excited about this innovation. I also asked Jacob Gibbs to join us because he's leading up integrations here at Sales Boomerang and Mortgage Coach, and we are integrating Mortgage Coach with this platform. And I just wanted to make sure that I didn't say anything that's not true, and also have Jacob at some point in the conversation speak into it. So Jacob, you feel free to jump in anytime. Okay, Jacob?
Absolutely, will do. Appreciate being on the call. Thanks, guys.
Right on. And so Joe, before we introduce Rob, why don't you frame this for the Mortgage Coach community a little bit? Because you're really the one that had the vision and brought Rob into the platform.
Well, thanks, Dave, and thanks to everyone who's listening as everyone learns more about how to make affordable home options more accessible to the borrowers you serve. And that's part of why I'm so excited as the Chief Lending Officer, and really making sure here at Mortgage Coach Sales Boomerang that every fundable transaction and every person with the ability to repay has an opportunity to benefit from home ownership. And so when you talk to professionals from across the country, they get very good loan applications, but oftentimes, unfortunately, loan professionals are just not matching all the available loan products to the borrowers that they can serve. And when you start really looking into who are the borrowers that get left behind, or who are the folks that have more purchasing power than they actually realize, it's the implementation of innovative loan products that make all the difference. And when you think about home affordability, down payment assistance is one of the most misunderstood advantages in the affordable home ownership process. There are many programs available. There are many opportunities available that go untapped. And when it comes to the originator's ability to connect the borrower and these programs together, there's no better financial professional. And it comes down to awareness and confidence. Does the originator have the ability to confidently portray and offer the option with a prescriptive scenario and an overview of how down payment assistance works? And do they really have the accessibility to these programs, which I think Rob has done a tremendous job of solving. So in the coming months, folks are going to see down payment assistance services illustrated with the TCA, and really getting the ability to pull some of these scenarios into our experience, much like you inferred with pricing engines, to have a click and receive type of opportunity to illustrate these down payment assistance options. When you think of the borrower's ability to benefit and our originator's ability to serve, having this new integration and having Rob's technology available to more originators will provide this access to just more individuals. And so, Rob, when you think about why originators aren't using down payment assistance, or why more borrowers don't realize that they qualify for this assistance, or that the property that they're picking itself qualifies for this assistance, maybe you can shed some light on how folks can take better advantage of these opportunities.
Yeah, well, thanks, Joe, and thanks, Dave. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you guys today, and Jacob. And we're so excited about this partnership. I've known about you guys and your products for years, and I thought for a long time, man, there's got to be a way to sync up on this. And so I've just had great admiration for your product and for you guys. And so when we were introduced earlier this year, I thought, yeah, now it's time. This is it. So we have our missions are aligned, And, if you've got that, that's all you need, right? So we're really excited about it. If you don't mind, I'm going to share my screen and I'll go back and forth.
Rob, before you share your screen,
Yes.
this is the first time I've interviewed you for the community, so just tell a little bit about, one, who you are and why you founded this business. Like what's the problem you're solving, and then we'll get into how you're solving the problem.
Yeah, sure. So my background is real estate. I had 15 years of real estate. That was really my first professional job. So I was pretty young and wet behind the ears, listed and sold properties for a few years, became a broker, managed branch operations, recruited and trained and managed agents. Then I transitioned to the mortgage industry, and I was a mortgage banker for 20 years. Originated a lot of loans. I spent a lot of those years originating, but I held some other positions, sales management and some other senior leadership positions. So during that time, I was obviously aware that these programs were out there, that there was money out there to help people. And it was a headache. You touched on that, Joe. It's not, even though we typically work, local areas, local markets or metro areas, there can be dozens of programs, and the funding comes and goes. The rules are contradictory. There's a lot of nuance and minutia in there. How does anybody keep up with it? Because it's not something you do every day. So for a long time, I just said, man, there's got to be a better way. There's just, especially, once real estate search went on the internet, and everybody went to the internet for all kinds of information. And I just kept saying, there's got to be a better way. Somebody needs to organize this, and, be careful what you wish for, because I had no intention whatsoever of doing this. I just thought it was a good idea that somebody should do. And, you say something enough times, somebody finally hands you the baton and says, all right, man, wise guy, go do it. So, that's how life is. Sometimes things just sort of come together that you can't really plan. But it's a great thing. So that's where it started. And I was sitting in a meeting. The job I had at the time, one of my jobs was condo developer services. So I had to hang around with condo developers. So I joined the Urban Land Institute, and I got on a committee, and somebody gave them millions of dollars to start a workforce housing center. And I'm sitting in this room with builders and developers, and I knew the transaction, the mortgage side, the sales side of the business, but I didn't know all the development lingo. And people are sitting there saying, okay, this is a steering committee. They're saying, what's a workforce housing center? We got this money. How do we spend it? And I'm sitting there in the corner, scratching my head, trying to think of something intelligent to say. And I was asking myself, what would I do with that money? And I thought, what? I'd go out and organize all these programs and make it easier for people to find. I mean, it was just that basic. I mean, and about 6 months later, the company I'd worked for 12 years, great company. I planned to be there the rest of my working life. And they suddenly, in the early first wave of the credit crunch, went out of business or filed bankruptcy. And I had this idea, but I wasn't sure I could just go cold turkey and start a business. So I took a couple of months of looking around and thinking about it and testing out the idea, got some good feedback. And that was 2007, 2008. And that was the beginning of it. Just, dumb luck.
So let's just get right to today, because today your platform is on Zillow. Why don't you give us, like, if you were riding up an elevator with the Mortgage Coach community right now, give us like literally a 1-minute elevator pitch, and then show us what you're doing. And then of course, Joe, jump in anytime. Like if you don't think he hits the elevator pitch the way Joe Patur would do it, feel free to give your version, and then let's see what you got. So what is it that you're doing? Okay,
so with Zillow, here's the deal. Everybody starts their home search online, right? Everybody. And if you're a first-time home buyer, the data shows that those people start maybe 12 or 18 months before they think they're going to be ready to buy. As Joe pointed out earlier, they have no concept that there's even such a thing called down payment assistance. And you've seen all the same surveys we have that mortgage-ready renters overestimate how big a down payment they need. They have other fears about not being mortgage-ready, and they just adversely select themselves out of the market. They're just not looking. They're sitting on the sidelines. So we figured, all right, if you start your home search online and you don't know about this, why don't we just flag listings, put a badge, a button, a message on a listing if that property is eligible for one or more down payment programs. So people are browsing, they don't know about it, but they see a home that looks interesting. You see the message and what's this? You click on it, right? I mean, what's more compelling than telling somebody you might be able to help them with their down payment? And so that's kind of how it works with Zillow. And in fact, we've been doing this with multiple listing services for more than 12 years now. It took us a while to work our way up to Zillow, but we're finally there. And that's what we do. So now anybody who's shopping on Zillow, and actually Redfin too, we launched a partnership with them a couple of months ago. And anybody looking for a home, when they see something they're interested in, they click on the listing details page. There are a bunch of tools, modules, widgets to give you all the information and history of that home that you would want. So one of those modules now is a down payment assistance module. Again, only if that property is eligible. And Joe was talking about that earlier, because so many times people think about the household, the borrower, are they eligible? Do they meet the maximum household income limits, certain occupations, veteran status? Are they a community hero? Are they a first-time home buyer? Have they owned a home in the last 3 years? All those kinds of things. Everybody thinks about that, but the property has to be eligible. It has to be eligible for one, because these programs all have very specific geographic boundaries. And so you need to know where the house is. A lot of the programs have a maximum sales price limit. So you need to know the sales price. They may have restrictions on the property types. And so, we process that, and there, 80, we did some research with Realty Track before they became Adam Data, and about 86% of all residential properties in the US are eligible for one or more programs.
Wait,
So
say that again, what percent?
About 86% of all residential properties would be eligible for one or more programs. And that was, at the time we did that was about 68 million properties. So, that's one of the other things when we're talking about what are the obstacles or the hurdles to loan officers and lenders participating in these programs. There's some misperceptions. Sometimes when you talk to people about this, you can kind of see the wheels turning. They're kind of think, oh man, this is really low income property. Maybe it's distressed property and targeted census tracts and all that. And that's obviously not the case based on those numbers.
So let's do this. Let's give Joe a chance to, how he would frame it and describe it. Jacob, let's have, after we do that, have Rob kind of give us a quick demo on it so that the mortgage coach community becomes aware of this service and opportunity. And then we'll hear a little bit about the integration, and then we'll wrap it up. So Joe, how would you describe what Rob's platform is and what the value is to mortgage coaches?
Well, look, I think Rob did a great job of talking about the solution in general, but I have to emphasize that this is a superpower for both the borrower and for the lending professional. 86% of property applicability is you come away from this call, please remember that there are just so many households that could benefit from these types of programs. And so I think that this concept that with a single click, and when you think about mainstream outlets, Redfin, Zillow, down payment assistance, down payment resource group really has proven that the technology that they have in place is trustworthy and capable of delivering the insights that can be illustrated in the analysis. And so when our mortgage professionals want to be able to close and get a transaction committed, they can be confident that the numbers that they're seeing here are actual programs that can be offered. And I think that that's part of the magic that really isn't necessarily seen until you really think about what's happening behind the curtain. Down payment assistance varies from state to state, to county to county, to city. I think Rob, last time we talked, it's more than 2,000 unique programs that you're
Yes.
seeing. So, I mean, there's a lot of science that goes into this. There's a lot of nuance that goes into making sure that the originator has the simplest path to what programs are available on this property for this borrower, and then leaning on the trusted Mortgage Coach total cost analysis to illustrate with clarity and understanding for the borrower to make a confident mortgage decision. It really is a very, very aligned mission and technology match. And so I hope just what comes out of this is everyone tries it. You know, whether you go to Zillow or Redfin and see some of the initial data, that gives you the confidence to know where we're going with how we're bringing this integration together. But not enough can be said about what Rob shared. This is not a niche program. This is a wide availability of funds to help borrowers secure properties today. I hope more originators take advantage of those solutions.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, so to net it out and go ahead and get ready to share your screen, Rob. But what you're going to see now is down systems of programs made simple for borrowers, for realtors, and loan officers. So let's see how you're doing that from Zillow.
Okay, everybody see my screen okay?
We do.
All right, so I'm going to play the role of first-time home buyer, like I was describing earlier, and I'm in Kansas City, and I'm, I think I'm probably a year away because I haven't saved up enough money for a down payment, but I'm starting to, dream and aspire, and I'm browsing to get a feel for what the market's like. What am I going to have to pay? And so I'm browsing, and I see a home, and this particular home. I like the curb appeal. The price range, I think, is in my, it's in my price range. It's affordable to me, maybe a stretch, but I don't think I have enough money for a down payment. But I click on this page, which is the listing details page. If you could see where I'm scrolling on the right, these are all those tools I was talking about. How to book a showing, check my travel times to the office or to schools. What are the interior details? Estimated market value, price and tax history. And I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. And if I scroll long enough, boom, this home's eligible. So this down payment assistance module appears. It tells me that 6 programs may be available, and those programs will have benefits of up to $18,250. So that's news to me. That gets my attention. They give you an opportunity here to enter my household information to see, am I eligible for any of these programs if I buy this house? Simple 7 questions. I'm going to say I'm a household of 3. I've never owned a home, but some of these programs have first-time home buyer requirements, and that means you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years. But
Hey, Rob,
yeah,
do we have it? And you don't need to go in detail on this, but I would be under the assumption that 90% of the people that take advantage of these are first-time home buyers. Is that a fair assumption, or would I be surprised with how many buyers that are non-first-time home buyers that get access to this? Or is this pretty much a first-time home buyer strategy?
We don't have any hard data on that, but anecdotally, I would say that that 90% is probably high. And one example of that is in our database. Last time we checked, about 39% of the programs did not have a first-time home buyer requirement. Now, that doesn't mean they were not first-time home buyers if they took advantage of it. But, there are a lot of people out there. And, think back, I know this has been a while, but think back to 2008, 9, 10 in the mortgage meltdown. A lot of people lost their homes, and they had been homeowners at one time. And unfortunately, maybe they lost their home, took time to rebuild their credit, and they're back in the market. And for these purposes, they are a first-time home buyer, but technically they're not.
Got it. Okay. So while this is for the most part, the majority first-time home buyer strategy, it's not exclusive, and that helps. Anyways, keep going.
Yeah.
And the nuance that Rob just shared, that nearly 40% of the programs, that's not a requirement. Common misconception that the programs make that a requirement. So just when you're, as an originator, thinking about who has applicability to benefit from these programs, it could be many people in situations where they just need a little help.
Yeah, I mean, what's the harm in checking? If you're a loan officer, you're pre-qualifying somebody, check it out. It's, this is somebody called this match.com for DPA. It's easy. You're not sitting there with a bunch of matrices and program guidelines in your lap trying to make the stars and the moon align. You answer these questions and boom, they either are or they not. So back to this 7 questions. I'm going to say my household income is $90,000. None of us in the household are active military or veterans. Maybe I could say one of us is an educator, but these are the categories for community heroes. And that's it. And I submit it. Now it shows me the programs that I'm eligible for. Some of them, we can calculate the benefits, the maximum down payment assistance on the fly. And when we can, it shows up in the column. And then there's a link to every one of the program providers. So I can click on that, get more information about the programs. I can go to, on those websites, they have a page with their participating lenders. Sometimes they even call out their top producers. And that's probably who I'm going to look for if I don't already have a lender. So, and then you notice at the bottom, there's a share. You could share the list. Who am I going to share it with? Well, probably my agent if I'm already working with an agent, or maybe I haven't started yet, but I'm sure going to share it with a loan officer. And I really want to emphasize this point because, if this is out there, a lot of people are seeing it. They're seeing it on other search sites. They're going to be seeing it on even more search sites next year. So if I'm a loan officer, do I want to be proactive? And if I'm working with borrowers who are still looking for homes and I can talk to them about down payment assistance and maybe I've already determined they're eligible, I can tell them, hey, this is how you find programs when you're looking for homes. I'd much rather do that than get a call out of the blue and somebody says, hey, I was looking on Zillow or Redfin and I found these down payment programs. Can you help me? And now I'm sort of back on my heels, right? I'm just, so this is another one of those reasons. In fact, when we were talking about perceptions or misperceptions, and I don't want to do these programs, it's too much work. I'm not familiar with them. I'm not comfortable with them. And we say, listen, there are millions of reasons you should do this. And to that point, I'm going to slide over here and where did I put it? So on Zillow, yesterday, this press release went out. It's the 1-year anniversary of our partnership. And you saw one of the reasons I was emphasizing when I was scrolling through that list, how far down you had to go to find the down payment assistance information. And every time we talk with Zillow, they remind us, they say, we are still blown away by the engagement we're getting. We haven't promoted it yet. It's hard to find. And yet they report that in the first year, more than 1 million unique site visitors or visitors to Zillow.com not only found it, but they clicked on it. And not only did they click on it, they answered those 7 questions. They were willing to give up information about their household because, damn it, I want that money. I want to see if I'm eligible. So, again, that's just kind of how it's working these days.
Rob, we just got to make sure to emphasize that point to the community. You call out that people have to really intentionally find it, click it, interact with it, and you have that much traction. I think that just says how relatable the subject is and just how widespread the interest is. Do I qualify for these dollars? And that it is a subject that every originator should have in their approach to mortgage advice, being able to bring up this topic. And I think the technology, as you demonstrated, it just shows how approachable it is. Anyone could do that search, but it's the financial professional that can give the confidence of what that extra money means to total loan amount, to, purchasing power, to make that home ownership a reality.
Yeah. And that's, that brings up a point of why we're so excited about integrating this into the TCAs, the total cost analysis, because think about it. It's great. It's pretty eye-opening to a consumer when they see that, hey, I might be eligible for $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 or more. That's great. That makes an impact. But the TCA is going to take that a step further. It's going to illustrate in dollars and cents what this means. You see, all right, in this column, here's an FHA loan, standard FHA loan, no DPA. Here's a FHA loan with DPA, or maybe here's a conventional loan that I didn't need to go FHA because I'm getting so much down payment assistance. I'm down to, who knows what, 95, 90% LTV. So yeah. And one thing I think I mentioned, what we do with Zillow, we've been doing with multiple listing services for 12 years. So it's not new from that standpoint. But because of that, the number one question we get from real estate agents, and we get it every day, is tell me loan officers in my market that can help my clients with down payment assistance. Who does this? Because, the agents don't want to be, and they shouldn't have to be, the subject matter experts, just like they're not, mortgage experts at all. They want to, they want to just introduce their clients to their lender, their preferred lender or lenders, and let the lender do the work. And it's the same way with this. It does, from the real estate agent's point of view, it doesn't have to be complicated because I've got a good lender. So those are some more reasons why it should be part of somebody's business development plan and their whole business strategy.
All right, so we only got a few minutes left. Everyone, I want you to look at the bottom where it says powered by Down Payment Resource Center. I want to make sure every loan officer knows about this resource. It's in Zillow. I mean, did you hear that? 1 million families, 1 million borrowers clicked on this, answered the 7 questions. They're interested in this. So not only is this going to be an opportunity that will be powered in Mortgage Coach integration, which Jacob, I'm going to ask you about that in just a second. But guys, this is great lead gen content to be the loan officer that's helping solve the affordability crisis by bringing buy down programs to folks, delivering a total cost analysis, folks, make sure that everybody gets a rent versus own analysis, and make sure everybody knows about down payment resources. This is a really, as I put it, just down, DPA made simple. So Rob, if you can stop sharing your screen, and then Jacob, I know you've been talking to Rob's team. Could you just give us a high level description of, the integration, and then Joe, make sure that, if you have anything you want to add to what Jacob says, everyone knows what's coming and what our vision is here at Sales Boomerang Mortgage Coach.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, Rob came to us with a pretty exciting idea. We wanted to obviously get this in front of more borrowers. We wanted to make sure that they were aware of these resources, but we were also looking to solve a problem, right? If you're a lender and you've seen this presentation, you should be thinking, how many borrowers did I lose because I didn't know to do this? And that is a key factor. So where Mortgage Coach comes in is we can actually help demonstrate what that disparity is. What does it actually look like? Yeah, it's a cost savings on the down payment, but what does it look like over time? How is this going to affect your short and long-term goals? And DPR is doing an incredible job of being able to send data over to create a total cost analysis within the Mortgage Coach advice engine. And this is going to have some predefined loan products in there for you. You're going to have a down payment assistance program. You're going to have a comparative program without down payment assistance. So you really don't have to do the legwork on trying to figure out what to show the borrower when you're interacting with the system or when they're interacting with the system. But the important thing is you now have a tool that you can use to actually have that discussion now. You don't have to be scared of the concept anymore. You can get out in front of it. And quite frankly, it's not only the borrowers you lost, but how much purchase power did they lose because they didn't know about this? If we're doing a service to the borrowers, we want to make sure that they can get everything that they're entitled to, or that helps them accomplish that homeownership dream. So really proud to be working with Rob and the team. I think this is an incredible innovation. I can't wait to see it come into Mortgage Coach. I will tell you this, the second side of the integration is going to be the ability to call out from Mortgage Coach to retrieve quote information on down payment assistance products. So some pretty exciting stuff coming in the future.
So I want every mortgage coach to think about this, because I interview America's top loan officers all the time. And, when they're in competitive situations, they're trying to win the business, down payment options, or not down payment options, but down payment options, but also MI options. Now you can take something that's even more complex and evaluate that. And so you're going to help families. And then think about this, guys, you're going to help realtors sell more homes. The more educated you are with how you can help a family achieve home ownership, the more valuable you are to agents. So being able to crack this code, and let's face it, guys, no one is breaking records when it comes to selling homes right now. So every lead, every loan, every home buyer, every basis point matters more than ever. And so I love this because there's gonna be some leads where home buyers that could get affordability, they didn't know they could get into homes. So we're going to be able to help you guys drive more leads into families. You're gonna be able to help realtors sell more homes. And then you're gonna be able to differentiate because you're delivering all this value. So Joe, what are we missing? Or what else do you want to add before we go into wrap up mode?
Well, I mean, the number one point to add is to not be intimidated and to make your first loan with down payment assistance applied to it, and to utilize Down Payment Resource Group as a resource to learn and to sharpen your skills at what programs are available in the communities that you serve. Originators of tomorrow have to be the folks who commit to be advisors today. And to be an advisor means to represent every loan product that you can offer to fund every fundable transaction. And so Jacob's commitment from the innovation side only shows how accessible this will be and how every originator will have a superpower soon. But to folks seeing this video, don't wait. Learn about down payment assistance right now. Start looking at the data that Rob and his team are producing and start providing TCAs that illustrate these programs. Because when you think about the competitive market that we're in and every transaction making a difference to everyone involved in the transaction, this could unlock opportunities tomorrow. And so I think that originators, some folks are having analysis paralysis. Some folks are just feeling overwhelmed by, whether it's negative press or just pressure. But if we really distill down that there are borrowers today, people are changing jobs, people are expanding their families, people need an extra bedroom, real estate is moving. This is going to be the third or fourth largest purchase year ahead. And so I think that people just need to remain committed to the borrower. And that means knowing every loan product that you can offer. And if you haven't begun offering DPA options, you need to, and this is your fastest path to get started.
So Rob, for any loan officer or lender that heard this and they want to engage with you, what website do they go to? I mean, I know you have a lot of enterprise relationships and, many lenders of clients. I mean, I know Mountain.
Is this
Yeah, that's a freeze on Dave right there.
okay? I was afraid it was my system freezing up.
So he was just asking about our mutual customers. We talked about Mountain West, but what kind of impact are we really looking at here?
Did I
Yeah,
freeze?
go ahead, Dave.
Did I freeze up, guys?
Yeah, you did, Dave.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, I was just saying, how can lenders and loan officers find out more? What website do they go to? If it's a lender, what do they do? If it's a loan officer, what do they do? How can we engage with you?
Yeah, well, the website is downpaymentresource.com. So pretty straightforward. If they want to send us an email, they can send it to info@downpaymentresource.com. They can send it directly to my email. It's rcrane, but it's spelled RCHRANE at downpaymentresource.com. So and then on the website, we've got information. We've got the information about the enterprise tools for lenders. We've got information about Down Payment Connect, which is a subscription tool for individual LOs. That's like our enterprise. It's almost the full enterprise version, minus a couple of things, but it's got everything an individual loan officer or mortgage broker needs.
So guys, no borrower left behind. Check out Jacob's shirt. No borrower left behind. This is just another way to make sure every family that can achieve homeownership can. And to you as a mortgage advisor, a data-driven mortgage advisor, you've got more data. This is another data resource so that families get all the data, they get all the advice. Joe, any closing thoughts from you before we wrap this up?
No, just looking forward to getting everyone's feedback. As with all of our innovations in the Mortgage Coach community, this is a direct result of hearing from originators. What do you need? So as you explore this new offering and as you begin learning how to use DPA to make a difference in your business, don't hesitate to give myself and Jacob and the whole organization feedback about how you'd like to see this represented in the TCA or the information made more actionable for you. But again, it takes the originators who take action to make this all possible. So thank you to those who have voiced so clearly how important DPA is in your market. We're excited to bring this to all of you very soon.
All right, guys. So My last ask, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook and you have questions about them, put it in comments. As Joe said, if you are a mortgage coach and you've got a vision with how you want this integration to work and how it helps, let us know in comments, and hopefully you got value here. And Rob, thank you for, just being one of those mission-driven leaders that is helping solve a problem in America. I mean, there's an affordability crisis, and you're one of the good guys that's really helping put a dent in that. So we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Dave. Thank you, Joe, Jacob. It's great being with you guys. I really appreciate the opportunity. I'm looking forward to next year when we kick this thing off. It's going to be awesome.
Let's go. All right, guys, this is a wrap. Take care, everybody. And give this a like and share it with your mortgage friends.